We got Pierre on the phone. Well, not on the phone, on the radio again. But first, let's have a listen to what Trudeau has to say about Canadians suffering with high inflation.
And now interest rates causing huge challenges on home buyers and homeowners. And people are really feeling it.
Exactly, Trudeau. Canadians are suffering, and Canada, it's heading towards a humanitarian crisis. We're looking at more interest rate rises. People can't afford the homes. Let's hear what Pierre Poilievre has to say about that.
Well, just picture families who, half of whom tell pollsters they have only $200 in their bank account at the end of each month, suddenly having a $1,200 or $1,300 monthly mortgage payment increase, which puts them in a deficit every 30 days of $1,000. Well, that's 12 grand a year. Eventually, the creditors come knocking, and the homeowner has to go walking. And the question is, where do they go? The second problem is that the housing shortage is growing every single year, and I'm not using it rhetorically, it's mathematics. The CMHC, the biggest housing agency in the country, said we're on track for a shortage of homes of 3.5 million by 2030, which is only 6.5 years away. So where do 3.5 million people go? Like, it's not just a stat. These are actual families that won't have a home. So what do we do then? Do we have housing in high school gymnasiums? Is there emergency portable shelters we're going to build? Like,
It's coming.
I'm having a hard time believing that we're even having this conversation in Canada. We're used to seeing these advertisements of things going on in third world countries where people are going through these things, and now it's in Canada. But after 8 years of Justin Trudeau, this is the housing hell people are living.
If we can believe the polls, and we can believe the comments that I get daily on this channel, I'm pretty sure you're going to be in charge of Canada pretty soon, within the next couple of years at least, minimum. What would you do to turn everything around?
We have to get interest rates down and home building up. So how do you do that? Interest rates are set by the Bank of Canada, but heavily influenced by the federal government's spending policies. When governments run humongous deficits, it increases the money supply, which bids up inflation and forces the bank to raise interest rates. It's not just me saying that. Former Liberal Finance Minister John Manley said that Trudeau's deficits are pressing the foot on the inflationary gas pedal, which is forcing the Bank of Canada to press its foot on the brakes with higher rates. So I would cap spending, cut waste, balance the budget to bring down inflation and interest rates. That would relieve the mortgage payments of people, especially those who are coming up for renewal in the next 2 years with the monster mortgages that Trudeau told them to take out during COVID.
Would you change the stress test?
No, I wouldn't. I think that I don't want to loosen up the stress test, because that's just going to encourage people to take on even riskier mortgages. You need to have, we don't need more debt. We need more affordable homes. And the way you get that is by building more of them. The reason housing is more expensive in Canada than almost anywhere in the world, the reason why Toronto is the most inflated housing bubble on earth, according to UBS, the reason why IMF says we have the riskiest mortgage bubble in the entire OECD, the reason why housing is almost twice as expensive in Canada as in the United States is we have the fewest homes per capita of any country in the G7, even though we have the most land to build on. Why is that? Because we have the second slowest building permits in the OECD. Right. Because Montreal City blocked 24,000 housing units. Winnipeg City Council blocked 2,000 housing units right next to a transit station that was built specifically for the housing development, because Vancouver adds $1.3 million in government red tape and taxes for every newly built home. So what is the federal rule? I will link federal infrastructure dollars for cities to the number of houses they get built. I'll require they free up land and speed up permits to build. Every major city will be required by the Poilievre government to permit 15% more home building or lose federal grants. Those that beat the target will get a building bonus, and the money will flow after the keys are indoors and the people are in homes. I'll require every federally funded transit station be pre-permitted for high-density high-rises so that young people can live right next to the bus or train.
I just want to touch on the wildfires that's happening all across Canada, and about the Indigenous who said that they could mitigate their own lands and you know, help fight the wildfires by looking after and maintaining the land. Although what they've been told is that the way they would do it would be illegal. How would you go about that? Would you change it? Would you let them mitigate their own land?
I would work with the Indigenous groups on that. I've heard the same thing from First Nations leaders in British Columbia, who tell me that they have ancient forest management practices that worked for years but now are effectively banned by government regulations that could have prevented some of these fires or mitigated their severity. We also need to put more resources into water bombers and other firefighting infrastructure, and that will be part of my plan. We're sending money to mitigate climate change in foreign countries home and use it to protect Canadians against natural disasters like forest fires here.
Well, I hope you found that a little bit enlightening about what Poilievre would do if he took over power, or when, not if. It's funny though, just as a point at the end of this, I've never heard Trudeau go on the radio and speak and talk and answer questions. Does he even answer questions? I don't think he can answer a single question without saying Canadians. Till next time.